Great music today, Cassie.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest, Dr. Brad Rodu. Smokers often misunderstand health risk of smokeless tobacco product. Rutgers study finds. Doctor, how are you today?
Doing great, Tom.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. By coincidence, just this morning I heard the figure that I believe they said 25 to 30% of high school kids use what are they called? Vape? I don't even know what they're called.
Smokeless tobacco.
Smokeless tobacco, vaping, whatever it is, or pouches. Well, I'll just turn it over to you because I want to hear exactly what we're talking about here because I don't smoke or use smokeless tobacco or any of those things. What is this all about?
Well, an increasing number of teens are using e-cigarettes or what we call vaping products. And it's of some concern, of course. Unfortunately, the FDA is driving policy changes that blame retailers. When their own survey data shows that 90% of kids who are using e-cigarettes are getting them from their friends or family. So there's a disconnect here.
Yeah, I would say there's a disconnect here. So do they perceive that these are completely harmless and it's not like smoking cigarettes and that's not the case, right?
Well, nothing is completely harmless. But for adult smokers, it's very important that they move to a product that delivers nicotine and tobacco satisfaction, but without the smoke. That's the key to reducing the risks from these products. Now, we don't want kids to be doing anything. We don't want kids to be using any tobacco product. But keep in mind, kids are using alcohol and marijuana at far higher rates. So, and those products are illegal for everybody under 21.
Right. God, that's amazing. You know, full disclosure, Doctor, when where I grew up, I started smoking and drinking alcohol at 11 years old because I grew up in the inner city, and kind of everybody did that, right? But then by the time I was 21 years old, I completely gave up cigarettes, and then several years later, and it's been years and years, I don't drink alcohol anymore either. But it was kind of, and I'm not saying I felt pressure, but you always want to fit in with people. And is that a big part of this? Well, if Bill's doing it, then I should do it because I want to fit in. Is that part of the problem?
Oh, absolutely. I can't name an adult behavior that kids don't want to experiment with. That includes drinking and other drug use, tobacco use, sexual activity. The key here, though, is to give them an environment where the experimentation with those things is at a minimum.
Right. Society is, what amazes me, Dr. Brad Rodu, and you pronounce your last name Rodu, R-O-D-U, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay. What amazes me about this whole thing is when I quit smoking, when I was 21 years old, cigarettes were 31 cents a pack. And now they're like $12 or something. How much is a pack of cigarettes now? I don't even know.
Well, that depends on state excise taxes. I think they're fairly expensive in Minnesota and other states. They're a little cheaper in Kentucky, and we still have a fairly high rate of smoking. So clearly you were one of the lucky ones. You were able to break away from the smoke and live a smoke-free life after age 21. That's great. But a lot of smokers are unable or unwilling to move entirely away from tobacco and nicotine. And that's why we're recommending that they look at smoke-free alternatives to allow them to lead longer and healthier lives.
A cost of a pack of cigarettes is $8.40, by the way, in Minnesota.
$8.40.
So quite a bit.
$8 more. Yeah, that's rather expensive. I will tell you, though, full disclosure, Doctor, so it's been decades and decades since I smoked cigarettes, but I still, to this day, have a hand-to-mouth thing. You know, putting that cigarette up to your mouth, and I still constantly have to be drinking something or what, because that hand-to-mouth thing is just hardwired into my brain. That's kind of scary when you look at it that way, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's why many smokers can't break away like you did. So, yes, it's important, and it's also why e-cigarettes, with that same hand-to-mouth behavior and the nicotine hit, the throat hit from nicotine, that's why they're so successful in helping people quit. And that's why we have to keep them on the market and keep adult access to them.
Now, I do want to talk to you about smokeless tobacco products. Now, would that be so? Is vaping considered smokeless tobacco? Because it's not really smoke; it's just like moisture of some kind, isn't it?
Well, traditionally, smokeless tobacco products are dip, chew, and Swedish snus, which is now popular in the United States as well. These are products you place between your lip and gum, and you hold them there, and you derive the nicotine through the lining of your mouth to give you the same tobacco satisfaction that other products deliver. So those are smokeless tobacco products. And that Rutgers study showed what we've known for many years, that Americans are completely confused about the risks of smokeless products versus smoking. They're vastly safer, but Americans have been confused by federal, state, and medical society officials who have conflated smokeless tobacco to smoking. So they talk about the harms of tobacco use. They don't distinguish that it's much safer to use tobacco in a smoke-free form than it is to burn it, create 7,000 chemicals, and inhale that smoke.
Man, it's just... This whole thing is rather frightening because is it true, by the way, I just heard yesterday, I heard that the tobacco industry bought the Juul cigarettes, the e-cigarettes. They bought the company. Is that true?
Yes, Juul now is owned by Altria, the maker of Marlboro cigarettes. That's correct.
Oh my God! So it was threatening their products, so they bought it. Now, what are they going to do with it? So now they can sell everything to everyone. Is that the idea?
Well, I mean, the goal here is to have products that sell, so we can continue to push the decline in cigarette sales into a steeper decline. And, in fact, that's what we're doing. Cigarette sales are dropping at a rate that's unprecedented due to the fact that adult smokers are switching to other products.
It's amazing to me, though, that most of the people I see smoking now are young people. They seem to be around 30 years old. Most of the smokers I see are about that age. Is that common?
Well, yes, it is. The higher rates of smoking have been in the young adults, and that's a big problem because if they are unable to break through the smoky delivery system, then they'll certainly suffer health consequences later on in life.
It amazes me. The study published in the journal Addictive Behaviors provides new research on what smokers think about snus, a Swedish-style product that is popular in Scandinavia. See, that to me, Doctor, was never attractive, to stick some either raw tobacco or a little pouch in between my teeth and my gum, all the gum and the lip, and all, that was never attractive to me. I don't know. So people love that now, huh?
Chicks dig it, Tom.
Oh, they. Okay.
Well, in Sweden, it's real popular. It's real popular in Sweden. I actually did a research project there, and the Swedes, both men and women, use a lot of snus. And the reason I was attracted to Sweden is their lung cancer rates are among the lowest in the developed world. They have very low rates of all diseases related to smoking because they don't smoke. They use snus instead. And certainly I agree with you that snus isn't going to appeal to a lot of smokers. But the health effects will appeal because they're much, much lower.
I mean, the only people that I ever knew in my life that would put tobacco or a pouch in their between their lip and gum were athletes. Athletes seem to love that delivery system.
No doubt about it. It's a delivery system that's very compatible. You know, in Sweden, to go back to Sweden, soccer players and hockey players are among the most common users because it gives them additional, it gives them attention. Their attention span is increased. It's probably a mild advantage to use a tobacco product when you're playing those sports.
Is there anything they could be doing that doesn't contain the tobacco that would, as you said, nothing is totally harmless, but is there something they could be doing instead to kind of wean themselves off of this bad habit?
Well, it's hard to determine what's going to happen when people go completely tobacco abstinent. And so different things work for different people. Our goal is to reduce the risks. And then once those risks are reduced, people have to find their own way. Some will stay with smoke-free tobacco. Others will move on and quit completely like you did.
Yeah, and as I pointed out, even though I haven't touched tobacco in many decades, I still have that thing in my brain, that hand-to-mouth thing. So I don't think you can completely break free. I'm not using the products, but I still have that part of the behavior. That's amazing.
Oh, that's absolutely right. In fact, you probably remember Mark Twain's famous quote, "Smoking was the easiest thing he ever did. He's done it hundreds of times." And so, you know,
yes.
Thank you for that. So it is a powerful behavior. We just have to give people options to manage it in better ways.
I like this paragraph. While smokeless tobacco products are addictive, contain cancer-causing chemicals, are linked with cardiovascular and certain cancer risks, products such as snus have comparatively fewer health risks than smoking when used exclusively, not in tandem with smoking, and may serve as harm reduction alternatives for smokers unable or unwilling to completely quit tobacco. So I guess, you know, it's a lot better than what you were doing, so at least you're moving in the right direction. Is that kind of the way we look at it?
Well, that's exactly right. No tobacco product is perfectly safe. No human activity is perfectly safe. But these products represent a vast improvement. That's exactly right.
Okay, doctor, I need you to do me a favor. I need to get your home phone number because when I'm sitting around having dinner with my wife, I want you to get you on the speakerphone and go, "That's exactly right, Tom. That's a good question." I like it. That works for me.
I'll do that offline.
You're a good man. Dr. Brad Rodu, R-O-D-U. I appreciate your time today. Smokers often misunderstand health risk of smokeless tobacco products. Rutgers study finds. Wonderful interview, sir. I'm really glad we talked about this because, man, don't start because once you do, it's a hard thing to get away from.
Absolutely. It was great to be here, guys.